The rest of the representatives of IEEEP and dear students, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. The picture that you are seeing is a very historical picture. You could see two vice chancellors, two former vice chancellors in this picture, Dr. Qabi Qazi and Dr. Munir Hassan. Both of them have served in the highest positions in this university. And I had the opportunity to work with them. And this was the time when I was in the final year. I was a final year student at NED. Sir, I must first of all thank IEEE for providing this opportunity to our students and other students to come and interact with the industry. However, there is a small farmaish. And my definition of farmaish is that farmaishs are always difficult to fulfill. So be prepared for a very difficult request. My biggest problem is to give industry the industry-ready graduates. And despite of all the hard work that we do, I mean, when I say we, I mean, I'm talking about myself, my colleagues, teachers, all these people, we end up giving knowledge, nothing more. And engineering is a little beyond knowledge. Engineering has to be practiced time and time again. And the universities do not have the infrastructure or a system to provide opportunity of practicing engineering. And I'm not talking about any university, I'm talking about the entire world. No university can directly provide exposure to engineering practice. However, universities have designed internship programs, and internship programs do provide a little bit of exposure of how industry works. And I have wonderful students, you know, these are some of the brightest students, they know how to sit in an online exam. So they are so hardworking that they would demand for an online exam. They would rather die than appearing physically. So they are very hardworking. And I was tempted actually to go for an online exam on campus. You are prepared, you are allowed to come on campus, the computer is at your disposal, write your own exam. But then I thought, you know, they're really hardworking students and I don't want to bother them coming to the university. And this is mind-boggling, you know. I'll come back to the point that I was making, I was diverted. This is mind-boggling. Their minds are fresh. And they are some of the brightest people in this country. And yet, they're tempted for an online exam. I'm still struggling. I've spent about 38 years of my life dealing with 18 to 22-year-old students. And I've never seen such a thing. And not a single student said that this is not the thing that I want. And I'm talking about 9,548 students. And nobody is giving me a valid answer. Why an online exam? Because that allows you to be more resourceful. And I'm using these words very, very carefully, because the other words look very ugly. Somebody has to give me this answer. Why these fresh, virgin minds are thinking that way? And if the youth of this country is thinking that way, we will have a wonderful future for this country. I still, whenever I talk about this thing, this gives me goosebumps. Why the young generation, which is going to be the custodian of the future, is thinking that way? I can tell you that you can get jobs, you can get promotions through Sifarish. No problem. If my father is well connected, or my brother, or my cousin, or some relative is well connected, they'll fetch you a job. That's no problem. But Sifarish will not earn you respect. And respect can only be earned through hard work, no shortcut. And that's what, Khalid Parvez mentioned. That there is no shortcut in this life. Even if you want to be the worst person in the world, you have to work hard to become that kind of person. So, I would, after this complaint, I would very humbly request all of you, think about your conduct. Think what you're doing to your future. Think what you are going to teach and tell your children. Your responsibility is going to be the fathers and the mothers of the future generation. Do you really think you would like your children to know what you have done? And you should, at least I feel shameful for what had happened. Anyway, so I would request you to review your conduct and see if whatever I'm saying is making any sense or not. And I'm talking not to NED students, I'm talking to the students of the entire world. So coming back to my farmaish, my problem is that I can't give industry ready students. What can be done? The internships that we have, I'm sorry to use this word, is nothing but a fraud. I tend to use very strong words. But internship, shortcutting an internship is something that we all love. We would like to have a piece of paper and that's it. Sir, I would request, let's change the concept of internships. I will offer all of them. Take them in your companies. Treat them as your employees during the summer and winter vacations. But on one condition, that the same student will keep on coming back during the summer and winter vacations every year. Don't pay them anything. If you feel that they deserve a stipend, provide them a stipend. If you feel that the company can afford to pay the fee, that will be even wonderful. But I'm not asking for it. University tries to arrange scholarships. Last year, during the COVID year, we have been able to disperse 153 million rupees of scholarships. It's a huge amount of money. About 3,000 students were benefited out of those scholarships. And so that is, so on the other hand, what the industry would get. Industry obviously would get industry-ready graduates. The person, you must appoint a person to mentor these students. And we could spend an hour a day, or maybe 3 hours a week, something of that. And you monetize that effort of that mentor and charge that money towards your CSR. So, there is no cash transaction. However, the effort can be monetized in monetary terms and can be converted and can be charged towards your CSR. I don't think it's a very difficult business model. Students may not understand, but you and I can very easily understand what I'm saying. In return, the student that you select, obviously you cannot select all of them, but you can take one student at a time. And we'll call this your company family. We'll select that individual together, jointly. And that we will publicize this thing on our campus through notice boards, through the website, that this boy or a girl is now ABC company family. You will see a tremendous difference in the way they will conduct themselves. I have seen it happening, and I'm sure Khalid Sahab would agree with me, that the students who graduate from the university, they are raw. They don't know how to appear in interviews. They would appear in an interview with a shirt coming out of their pants and coming out of they've just rode a bike, so the hair are all over the place, and they would appear in a very shabby looking attire. But they spend 2 months in the industry, the body language changes, the dressing changes, the way they conduct themselves changes completely. So why don't we train them early? Pick them early. They make them, when a graduate goes and joins you, you have to spend at least 6 months, and that person is a trainee engineer, because he's of no use, to be very honest. And he has to understand the engineering practice before the person becomes productive. If a student spends 10 weeks a year, we're talking about 40 weeks, we're talking about 9 months. I probably would think that if the mentorship is done properly, this will be a seamless integration. You don't need a trainee engineer to pay salary and make him productive after 6 months and then he runs away. You know, especially in the private sector, retainability is a big challenge. The moment the person is trained, he'll fly off. You know, so we can go into the nitty-gritties and details. We can go into an agreement. We can go into some kind of formal mechanism where the student is regulated in a diligent manner, so that it goes to the benefit of those individuals. Sir, the idea of having such events is to bring in the students close to the industry so that they understand the engineering practice. And you've been doing it for the last 34 years now? 36 years. Let's take it.
So young at that time.
I could see Atish was still Jawan. Let's move to the next era. Let's move to the new dimension. Industry and the university have to work together. Otherwise, we are throwing these kids in the deep end of the pool without telling them how to swim. We need to chalk out these plans in much more details. The second request, with a lot of apologies from my colleagues, take all of my teachers. Use them as your employees from any time between 1 month to 3 months. Don't pay them anything, they're paying their salaries anyway. Give them exposure to engineering practice. We want to train our teachers to be professionals. Reading from the book and teaching in a class is something that is not the need of the hour. We really need to change our pedagogy. We really need to change the way we teach. And this is where I'm seeking help, rather begging help. I experimented this faculty placement program in 2019, and 17 of the faculty members were sent for training in the industry, and they came back with wonderful experience and very good industrial contacts, and the industry knew the capacity of those individuals, and these individuals knew what needs to be done, and that has resulted in a few joint collaborations also. But unfortunately, 2020 is probably the year that doesn't exist in a calendar. And I hope that we come out of this pandemic quickly. I got my inoculation today in the morning, so the first injection I was administered on me today in the morning, and I'm feeling a little more confident. But at the same time, I'm trying to be more careful. Sir, I have a long list of requests, but the bottom line is that we talk about university-industry liaison without really creating sustainable platforms. When I was growing up, university-industry liaison, I've been hearing this word for the last 40 years. With absolutely no platform available to liaise with, I am giving you a few platforms. Let's sit down together, let's work out together, and try and secure a better qualified nation. Even though they are fond of online exams, that's something else. But they're good kids. I have a lot of faith in them. Whether they like it or not, and whether they realize it or not, they are some of the brightest brain in this country. And the reputation of this institution is only and only and only because of these bright kids. Not because of anything else. Not because Sarosh Lodi Saab can speak fluently in English and can talk for hours, or not because we have a wonderful laboratories. To be very honest, it's only because of these kids. So you have been a teacher, and when Tahira also was my teacher, so you know the both sides of the stories.
Your father was my teacher.
Very good. So now you understand the second generation. I love teaching. I came to teach as a choice. I decided to be a teacher when I was in grade 2, and then never changed my mind. And Alhamdulillah, God has been very, very kind to me. But my prime job is to secure the future of this nation. And one of the ways of securing mission is to keep you busy. And it's not inside the classroom. It is outside the classroom. Otherwise, this generation is unfortunately has become the prisoner of the cyber world. This has imprisoned all of us. And we need to bring them out of this. There is a whole lot of world outside this cyber world. That's why we are putting so much of sporting facilities. They will be ready in another month's time and you will see a lot of activity if the COVID allows after Ramzan. You need to go out and see the world. And you need to see how beautiful this world is that Allah Ta'ala has created for us. Sir, I have a lot of ideas and I have a lot of things to discuss. But obviously I don't want to bore everybody, especially the kids who have recently passed with the flying colors their online exams. So you can see how pain I feel when I talk about these online exams. Anyway, things are beyond our control. It's beyond your control, it was beyond my control, beyond everybody's control. So let's hope that the situation improves and we come back to a certain level of normality. With this, I would like to extend my gratitude to IEEEP for being here. We would like to continue to work with IEEE and with your companies for the benefit of this country. Thank you very much.